Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez. Behind the scenes, you got a little Nicole Burdick action happening there, and we're so glad you're here because it's story time. Murders at Karlov Manor is here, and in addition to all of the clues and evidence and detectives running around, we also got our first look at play boosters and like a million different card variants. Fortunately, we have TCG Home to help us keep our collections straight, but I'll tell you more about them in a little bit. For now, I want to talk about the pre-release experience and how it relates to the question for today. In case you missed it, the pre-release for Murders at Karlov Manor had something special going for it, in which each kit included one of 3 possible exclusive promo cards. These are Melik, Reforged Researcher, Tomik, Wielder of Law, and Voha, Jaws of the Conclave. As far as I can tell, these don't appear anywhere in the set, not in play boosters, and not in collector boosters either, which means at least one of them is already fetching a pretty high price on the secondary market because supply is extremely limited. Anyone who attended the pre-release is probably pretty happy about that because they get to start their collection with a high-value card, unless their promo was Melik. Anyway, the point of this show is to ask you the question and then have you answer it in the comments. So let me put it to you like this. Are mechanically unique, exclusive promotional cards good for the overall health of Magic? Personally, I do not think so. This would have been a great opportunity for a cosmetically unique card or cards, but having game pieces that can only be gotten by being at a certain place at a certain time feels really punishing to me as a player and a collector. I feel like this should have been a promo version of Niv Mizzet, who has basically become the face of Ravnica at this point, or maybe this is the only way to get the invisible ink version of Alquist Proft to help players feel like the detective here at the pre-release and really tie the whole theme together. The other odd bit here is that these cards were not legal to use in the pre-release. You had to set them aside and only use the cards that came out of your packs and your date-stamped promo. So this created a somewhat confusing situation for new players and returning ones, which ultimately led to a lot of people feeling frustrated by the experience. So that's why I'm asking you if these unique cards are good for the game when awarded this way. The good news is that these cards do all exist on Magic Arena, where they can be had for the low price of 1 mythic wild card, because again, they will never show up in a pack anywhere, ever. So that's what I wanted to show you today, a little deck I'm working on called Tomik Assembles The Titans. Yep, and it all starts with this saga from Dominaria United called Urza Assembles the Titans. This card is basically a bulk rare right now, but I have been fascinated by it for a while because it captures a really dramatic moment in the Magic story, and it has some interesting abilities as far as white sagas go. First, you scry 4, and then you can reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a Planeswalker, you get to put it into your hand. Then, you may put a Planeswalker card with mana value 6 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. And finally, you may activate the loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers you control twice this turn rather than once. For me, the part that really makes this card work is the ability to read ahead, because if we're already holding a Planeswalker, we can just play it early. Or if we've got multiple on board, we can double up all of their activations. Which leads me to the other 2 cards of my key 3, meaning the 3 cards with overlapping synergy that I use as the cornerstone of any new theoretical deck. There are 2 6-mana Planeswalkers we can play with this saga, and they are Vraska, Betrayal's Sting, and the Eternal Wanderer. Imagine this. It is turn 5, and you play Urza Assembles the Titans. You read ahead to the second chapter so that you can play Vraska for free from your hand, and she enters with the full 6 loyalty because you didn't have to pay life and use her completed ability. Then you use Vraska's zero-cost ability to proliferate and draw a card. This also lets you put another counter on your saga, which moves you to the third and final verse, which lets you activate Vraska again, so you could draw another card, or maybe this time -2 her to get rid of your opponent's Shieldred or whatever. Alternatively, you could have played the saga and then dropped the Eternal Wanderer and wiped the board, or use her to upgrade one of your prototypes. Yeah, they're another fun part of this deck, and we've got 2, Phyrexian Fleshgorger and Steel Seraph. If you play either one of them in their prototype mode, then when you use the Eternal Wanderer's ability to exile and return them to the battlefield, they will come back as their bigger versions, which, again, you could do as early as turn 5. In my deck, I'm also experimenting with the Wandering Emperor because she is just generically good, and that gives us a pretty high density of Planeswalkers. That's why I'm also putting in Tomik and letting him assemble the Titans, because he's often a 2-mana 2/4 with flying and vigilance, and he really discourages the opponent from attacking my super friends. And then beyond that, I'm using a support package with a lot of removal, stuff like Get Lost, Shieldred's Edict, and even March of Wretched Sorrow to buy some extra time against the really aggressive decks. I also have room for Deep Cavern Bats, which are great at throwing a wrench into our opponent's game plan, and a spicy copy of Urza's Silex, a wonderful way to wipe the board and find one of my key planeswalkers. Now remember, the goal here is not for me to show you a full final deck list and brag about how great it is and promise that you'll climb the ranked ladder if you just copy my pile. The goal is to spark a discussion about what cards work well together and how we can take a more creative approach to deck building. Now that said, if you do want to see my full version of this list in action, you gotta let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to do some gameplay or a live stream if that's something people are interested in watching. And while you're down there, make sure you answer the question: are mechanically unique exclusive promo cards good for the overall health of Magic? To help you formulate your answer, you might want to check out TCG Home, the sponsor of this video. TCG Home is a completely free web-based application that tracks your collection and can tell you its value while keeping things tidy with these super handy tags. That's how I identify the key cards for my new decks and find appropriate supporting cards for all of my wacky strategies. Again, TCG Home is completely free, and since it runs in a browser, you can use it on your phone, laptop, tablet, or desktop. I've got a link down below that will get you signed up with just a few clicks, so go ahead and start the next chapter of your collection's story with TCG Home. Then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the great stories you'll only find here on Magic Arcanum. We'll see ya!